All right, we are back on the Connected Design podcast, and I can't say I've ever done sort of like, serial-esque episodes, one after the other, that are connected, so excited we're going to explore this world together, of having to tell a story one week after another. So, but I appreciate, we're continuing the Caster story this week, and I appreciate Miss Alex Crabb and Pete Girard, President and SVP, respectively, of the Caster Communications team, jumping in and joining us this week, guys. I really appreciate it. I've been looking forward to this since I talked to Kim, even prior to talking to Kim last week. I knew this was going to be a fun one. So thank you for being open and willing and wanting to dive into a podcast with us here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us, Rob. I think it's really cool to be able to tell this story of Caster's evolution. I loved Kim's story, and we're excited to be here.
Yeah. I'm excited to be on not only the serialized podcast episode, but we're throwing a curveball by having 2 additional representatives on. I know, because it's normally one-on-one with you.
I got to do a little post editing here in Premiere Pro or whatever. I have it all set up. You guys, it is a curveball, but it's a fun one to be able to throw, and just exciting because too, like, you guys are getting to put everything you do on behalf of clients, right? Like, you're on the PR circuit, sort of sharing your story. So I also have to say thanks for finding the time within that schedule. I know it's crazy. We're coming out of sort of the early year events that go on, and I know you guys were running around. Chickens with your heads on, because you're not going too crazy at CES, but the point given, and then we're coming up, we got another slate of events that are not too far ahead of us, so finding time within it to be able to hop in and chat with us, I appreciate. So looking forward to it. I got a great, for those that listened last week, I got a great amount of detail on how the both of you joined the Caster team from Kim. She shared some really cool stories, but I want to give you guys the chance right out the bat. Just tell us, Alex, you can start. Talk a little bit about yourself, your background, and your path to where you are today. Both we kind of buried the lead. I should mention it. It is serialized, but for those that weren't watching previously, Pete and Alex, it was announced a couple weeks ago at this point that you formally acquired Caster from Kim, the company's founder. So just to make sure for those that we don't want to. I didn't do it last week. I don't want to do it this week either, of burying the lead. It's not a good PR form.
Now everyone's sufficiently filled in.
Right now that we're all caught up, Alex, if you want to start by telling us a little bit about your background and path to where you got today.
Yeah. So I've kind of been in tech PR my whole life. Well, no, not my whole life. My whole career. I started at some smaller agencies in Boston. Yeah. I was working for a tech PR agency in Boston when I met Kim and the Caster team. It was called Inc. Communications, and we did a lot of emerging tech, like early stage startups, a lot in the mobile space and gaming space. So that's where my background came from. That's where a lot of the clients I have today at Caster are either came from that world or I met through contacts in that space. So there's semiconductor, emerging tech, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I met Kim while I was working there. We had Caster Communications and Inc. Communications had clients that were doing a project together at CES. So yep. I met, I didn't meet Kim there that time, but I met Nick Brown, who was working at Caster at the time. We started dating, we got married, but I met Kim through him, and she was amazing. We were like, we have to work together. But I didn't want to Nick and I were kind of early dating at the time. We were like, what do we do? We're both going to work for the same company. And Kim promised me, you guys will work on different things. It'll be great.
Does she take credit for your relationship? Does she ever? Is it a constant thing? I feel like
she doesn't take credit for the relationship, but she did have a lot to do with things in the early days. I know Nick ran my wedding ring by, or engagement ring by her.
Oh wow!
The whole plan. Yeah. So she was there for all of our big moments for
That's
sure.
Awesome.
And it's funny because CES is such an important part of our jobs and it is where Nick and I met. We still go together every year. Not together. He works for a different company now, but we both go at the same time every year. And yeah, anyway, so it was like really kind of like a perfect fit, moving to Castor, and very similar type of work, like in the tech space, but new industry. So I was, new to the CEDIA market. I was new to the, the AV space and the Infocom space. And so I'm not new to those spaces anymore, but I'm not as well known or as well versed. So
and that's why, like, the relationship, like you and Pete here, if I remember right, Kim said you guys don't share a lot of the same clients, which a PR agency,
anymore.
obviously, right?
Yeah.
So like that's kind of the yin and yang of the relationship, I have to imagine too, right? How it makes it help.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I definitely need to, get to know people better in those markets that Kim has. There's huge shoes to fill in that space, but yes, Pete and I used to work on a lot of accounts together. Some of my favorite campaigns and projects have been with Pete. I'm sure we'll have a chance to talk about, but now, yeah, he handles a lot more of the smart home space.
Yep.
And we have a much bigger team now too. So we have Olivia Selke, who handled PR for CEDIA for many years, Rachel Bradshaw and Megan Glickman, who came from Avixa. So we have folks that are super, super well versed in those markets. And then I'm kind of handling a lot more of the like emerging tech, semiconductor embedded, cybersecurity, those kind of spaces. But
no, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, they all kind of link together. So
yeah,
I mean, I think one of my favorite things about always, working in the tech PR space has been taking those like really complex tech things and making them something that anyone can understand and try and have them, stories that land.
Good story to tell. Well, that's what makes the job. It is the job, right? Is to help, whether it's the people like us in the media world that you're helping make sense of what's going on and everything, but just that nice bridge between the manufacturers and the rest of the people that need to know what's going on. And you talk about people that need to know what's going on, Pete. It didn't dawn on me until I was talking to Kim on, like, as we were recording, that I went back to that first CEDIA that I ever went to in this space, and I am fairly certain. I think I was like 85% on that podcast. I think I'm like 95% certain now that you were the first PR person I interacted with at CEDIA.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna take that accolade.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna claim that.
I was 2 months into my job at NAPCO Media at the time, and CEDIA was, I think, in late October at that point, in Denver, or because I started in like August, early September, or late August, in that range, and CEDIA was the first event I went to in Dallas, and Beale Street Audio was the first appointment I ever had, and it was right on the floor with you. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I know, it's like that. It's the interwovenness, kind of like as it goes all the way back. And it's funny, you're not alone in mentioning like Beale Street Audio in particular. There was a couple other guys like in the audio space who were just like, oh, I remember going to like CE Week and you were there and I met with you for that.
That's funny.
So that one has come up a couple times.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, so we got Kim shared it in Crabb. She said that she had permission. She felt like she had permission to share your story. But now that we have you, I want to hear your take on that introduction into the space and the coffee shop. I know you mentioned it before we hopped on here, but the LinkedIn post kind of jogged my memory as well. That you said you owed a lot of your career to coffee. So dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, I know the humble cup of coffee. No, I do owe a lot to it. I mean, in my background, my degree is in communication studies from the University of Rhode Island. And while I was attending that university, there's this coffee shop is still there, but it's now a different coffee shop. But so it's still within the community, but it's not named the same thing. Yep. But there was a really popular coffee shop. And I worked there all through college. It was where I made like a lot of contacts, and I was working through college, so it was just, it helped with that. But upon graduation, they actually needed a manager. And I mean, fresh grad, it was a salaried position. So I was just like, yeah, I mean, I'm going to take a jump at this. I waited for a little while because I was just like, what are the optics of coming out of my degree in communications to like be the manager of a coffee shop? But I was just like, you got to start somewhere. And so, and all a lot of the skills I felt I would start to translate. So I did that for about a year, and it's within that year that I did listen to the episode that you did with Kim, where she would frequent, there was a gym in the same complex. So like her and her family would come into the coffee shop. What I think she omitted was Kim would order a very particular drink that was had a couple stages, and so there were a couple people on staff that made it well, and I was one of them. And so, but yeah, as she told it, I hadn't seen her in a while, and until I got into the caster ring and started working here, I didn't really fully understand why, but it was the breaks in which I wasn't seeing her was like right around September. So like CD was happening, and then I would see her for a little bit, and then she would disappear again around like December and January. And so CES and everything. So I hadn't seen her for a bit. And just as I was making her drink was just kind of asking her questions as to like, oh, like haven't seen you in a little while. Like, where you been? How you doing? And that's when she mentioned that she had been traveling a lot for work, and I didn't know what she did at the time. So I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Like, what do you do? And so she said that she owns her own PR, social media communications firm. And I know that she mentioned, I did in fact run to the back. I was like, before you leave, hold on. So I went to the back and I logged onto the computer there, which I'm not sure if I was supposed to do, but I printed my resume and handed it to her. Not because I ever thought that I was like, this is how I'm going to get a job per se, but
hey, do you know anyone? Or
yes,
you know,
it was networking is what it was. I was just like, this lady knows people, and if I have any shot of like at least talking to somebody who might be looking for like a recent grad in communication studies, like she would know who it is. And I was equally baffled when she was like, we actually might be hiring an entry-level position. And I was like, really? Well, I'd be interested in that.
That's awesome.
That came about. I know I did interview. Actually, I came to my caster interview directly off of a shift at that coffee shop.
Did you? I hope you brought her drink.
I brought coffees for everybody in the office.
There you go.
I actually, a funny aside is I had received a text from Nick Brown, and because I was actively working a shift, and so he was just like, hey, I know that you probably like want to go home and change for this, but like you don't have to, just come in. And so I had earlier in the day like spilled a bit of like hazelnut iced coffee on like my khakis, and so I showed up with like 4 iced coffees for everybody that was there, but like reeking of hazelnut iced coffee for like my interview, and I was just like, well, no shot here, but I'm gonna go for the interview. This is good experience. But no, we had an awesome conversation. I kind of met with everybody that was at Caster at the time, and went through the process, went through the communications, and then then I was offered the account coordinator position. So I haven't fact checked this, but I think I might be the only one to have had like the distinct privilege, I think, of holding every position from account coordinator like up to like where I am now. I'll take that accolade too. So,
that's awesome. That's growth, man. That's really, I mean, 2 really cool origin stories to know where you both started, how you've kind of, I mean, anyone that's in this space has seen your trajectory over the last, years and whatnot, and the role you've played in helping, like I said, people like me and being able to tell stories that are out there and uncover these things, to now being owners of a business. And that's awesome. First of all, congratulations to you guys.
Thank you.
Really cool story to be able to tell on behalf of a storytelling agency. So one thing I wanted to ask, because well, let me ask this first. Have we all purchased a home or house? That are all 3 of us? We've purchased a house? Now,
yeah.
Purchasing a house, purchasing a business. I want to ask you, I know there's a lot of paperwork and writing that has to go on, signatures, things like that, with buying a house. If you're leveling them out, what was the more difficult process?
I mean, 1,000 times the business.
Right? Right. I have to imagine.
I don't know. Almost feel like they were giving out houses compared to what it was like to buy a business.
Yeah, if this was 2007, maybe. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's my feeling. It was way bigger to me. I mean, a house doesn't come with like employees and clients and payroll and insurance and all of the things that we needed to learn and do and transfer. But also, you know, we went through, and I think Kim talked about this in the last one, but we went through an SBA loan. So like that has a lot of, Small Business Association has tons of paperwork and took months.
Yep.
So I don't know. My take is this was way bigger. It's very exciting, slightly terrifying, but I'm actually not terrified anymore. It was during the process, but it's great now. I feel good now.
Yeah.
Pete, same for you?
Yeah. Hands down the business. That was, I think it's a totally different animal. Number one, we were talking about, like, I remember buying my house or my condo here and like going and sitting and signing paperwork for like a long time. Obviously that was like my first experience with just like how many pieces of paper do you need my signature on? And
when I'm gonna poke my finger for the blood.
Yeah, I know. I know. This is what this paper. This is what this paper means. This is what this one means. And like, I mean, you also don't have any negotiation power at that point anyway, where you're just like, oh, like, well, what if I disagree with that? Then like you don't get the house. So like, it kind of is what it is. I mean, Alex and I did go to a meeting where we both sat down and had to sign a bunch of paperwork, but that process was way faster than the house buying process. And yeah, going through the process, I was thinking about it because there was a lot of, I know Kim touched on this a little bit, but there was a ton of things for the process of kind of acquiring the business that we just didn't know about. And a lot of, not running around in the bad sense, but like we would get a notification like, oh, hey, we need this from you guys. And it would be like, well, A, what is it that you need and when do you need it by? And they'd be like, oh, by the end of today, if you can get it to us. So like there was like one that stuck out in my head was that we needed to take, because I know Kim mentioned we had the building, and then we do have office space over in Newport. And one of the stipulations was we needed to go and like take a bunch of photos of like the office space to kind of like prove that it existed and that it was there. And this was at like 2 p.m, and they're like, we need these by the end of the day. And somebody was supposed to like go out and get them. And so I was like, I will fly over to Newport to take these photos, because I was just like, do you need these? Can we do them? And so it was a lot of cooperative effort on that front, but there were a lot of side quests, as probably a really good way to refer to them.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
We had a lot of help. We had a lot of good people helping us, like lawyers and bank people. And I got to do a shout out to Lee Abraham, our office operations manager. She was the only person on the team who knew about this besides Kim, Pete, and I, because she had to help us get so much paperwork and stuff together. And she did a lot for us. So that was really helpful. But I mean, I would say it was, the process itself was daunting, but it doesn't feel like a huge leap because Pete and I have been working on, we've been working here for so long. We really know the business inside and out. I remember like some of the people we were talking to, like lawyers and even like the banking team and stuff, asking us questions like, have you had access to this? Or you need a list of contracts. And we're like, yeah, we know the contract. We work here. We've worked here for a long time. We know everything. So there were definitely parts of the process we didn't know because Kim has never sold a business and we've never bought a business. So the three of us were learning how that was going to happen. But in terms of like what's going on at Castor and what happens behind the scenes, we've been filled in. We've been working here. That
was kind of like, in listening to you guys talk about this, my just sort of natural in my head follow-up is, what is change? Like, obviously there's a big portion of the, Kim's not going to be there. And I know that's not an immediate thing. For those that listen, I think she's staying until the end of the year, roughly. And, but, beyond that, what changes for you guys day to day? Is it sort of, are you trying to operate, continue as if, or what's going on sort of behind, maybe not behind the scenes. I don't want to, don't feel like you have to share that with a secret sauce, right? But what is changing in terms of how you guys operate, if anything?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can start and then feel free to jump in. But I mean, Kim's created a really great brand and a really strong culture. The people here are amazing. The team. We have clients that, stick around. So we're not trying to change how we do things. I feel like we have a responsibility to kind of keep things strong, maintain that trust with our clients and with our team and with the industry, with our press and with everybody. So that's not something we want to change. So we're really trying to keep the core the same and consistent, in how we work and what we offer. But I do think there's a lot changing in the world, right? So we have to be prepared for. There's, AI and media. I think we really need to understand what that means for our clients and be able to leverage it so that I think there's an opportunity right now for companies to sort of change how they're showing up in search and stuff, and it's going to be a big shift. So we need to help guide them, and we need to help. Earned media is going to play such a big part of that. We need to help drive that from our end. So that's going to change how we do things. It doesn't necessarily change the things we do, right. But maybe there's different emphasis on different aspects, and we need. And I think we launched a new website, but it's not really a new brand. It's just we wanted to. This is something we've been working on since before, anyway. But we're trying to elevate the package a little bit, but not change the core of who we are and how we work. But we definitely need to, PR and AI and search and visibility, all of that, how that intersects is changing a lot right now. There's going to be a huge shift, and we are doing everything we can to be ready for that and make sure our clients are ready for that. And I think that's kind of one big thing that we're planning.
To me, it sounds like, and Pete, I'll give you a chance to tackle it too, but to me, it sounds like things whether there was a sale of the company to you guys or not, you would have been doing anyway. These are all sort of outside forces that are impacting your space, my space, not my, Tom, I don't know.
Yeah, MySpace.
Right? That was not intended. A happy accident. But right?
It's probably coming back.
Maybe it'll relaunch. Who knows? AI can do anything. But that's incredible. But it's all things that were going to take place or have to, these outside forces that are impacting the industry in a way that you have to evolve. So it's not like the sale is forcing any of this. It's just you guys kind of approaching things how you would have anyway.
Yeah. We've had a lot of internal communication, conversations and communications around what the landscape looks like right now. We've kind of hearkened it back a little bit. It's not exactly the same, but it is a bit reminiscent of when social media came on the scene and what that.
Speaking of MySpace.
Yeah, speaking of MySpace, it's a constant web of keywords. But it's reminiscent of what social media did when it really came onto the scene for businesses. I mean, we're always tracking kind of where, even in the integrator space, where's the proper platform for them to be spending their time on, and what's that look like? And it was a whole new channel and a whole new thing. And at that time, there was a lot of ability to, on top of the traditional PR, which is nice in the fact that that drum beat stays pretty similar. There's not too much different between once you've mastered the fundamentals, really, or if you stick to the fundamentals, there are things that you can kind of add on there. So social media, when that came on the scene, was something that we were adding to programs and we were working with clients on, and so it's kind of a similar time frame where we've been taking a hard look at how is AI and media kind of changing the landscape there, and there's a lot of information, just like when social media came out, or was really kind of taking off. Like, there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of experts you can go to in the sense of kind of like what that looks like and what you should be doing. So kind of parsing through all of that so that like you are doing purposeful, your activities are purposeful, and that you're just using it to further amplify what you're already doing rather than letting it drive like everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I would say, I would say Kim and Castor were really early on the scene to like lead clients in social media programs. I mean, we were doing Twitter really early on, and even LinkedIn early on for clients. And so we want to sort of keep that true and be the agency that's getting ahead of these trends and these changes, and sort of understanding what it means for our clients early, and doing helping them do what they need to do now before the shift happens. Because I think there's a real opportunity right now for them, for anyone to become an authority and sort of take charge on visibility and AI. And I think sort of just like what Kim did with Castor and social media back in like the early 2000s, I think that's what we're trying to do now.
And that's where I was going to go anyway, and I'm glad you brought it up, because the opportunities that do exist are there. Well, where are you guys sort of putting your efforts, or what are the, again, without getting too much into the secret sauce of like what you're trying to do on behalf of clients, but what are those opportunities that exist, and how can brands, what are some of the ways you're seeing them be successful and how they leverage AI?
I think
either of you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I think we're understanding, we're seeing more that earned media is really critical for AI visibility. So owned media is a big part of it. And
for those, sorry to butt in. For those that don't know, can you explain the difference between earned and owned?
Yeah, sure. So owned media is like your company blog or a press release that you put out on a wire, or if your company, if like the CEO of your company has a Substack, or you run your own podcast, or some of the bigger brands have things like that. That's owned media, and so that is really important. And it's becoming a big part of, I guess you could call it AEO, GEO, SEO, PR for
things.
AI.
Acronym soup.
There's a million different things that they're calling it now. But basically, we usually use the term AEO or GEO, which is generative engine optimization or AI engine optimization. And so owned media plays a big part of that, but earned media is even higher ranking in the AI searches. So earned media is basically what we do. It's PR. It's getting third parties to validate your brand with articles on media sites, things that are not paid for, so not sponsored articles, not press releases on wires. It's press writing articles. It's analysts doing reports, those kinds of
podcast
things.
Appearances, exactly what we're doing right
Oh,
now.
hey.
Exactly. Podcast and video, I think, is going to be a really important piece of it. Yeah.
Now I see why you agreed to do this. Now.
It's earned media for Castor.
Yeah, right? Woo. No, that's awesome. Well, I appreciate that, and I know I cut you off, but to dive back into it, the areas, and maybe that kind of answered it. I don't know, Pete. I'd give you a chance to tackle it too, but sort of the early benefits you're seeing, or the areas of early emphasis around AI for the space. What are you seeing in that regard?
Yeah. What's really interesting, and what I think is working well, is kind of given the way that the chips are falling with this right now, it's giving companies, and it's giving those within the space the opportunity to really own their message. So rather than again chasing kind of like what's the latest algorithm update, and like what is being prioritized right now, like everything that we're seeing, to Alex's point, is like with earned media being ranked so high, those are your chances to kind of tell your story authentically and to be part of the source for where those stories are being told from, and kind of like the well that they're kind of being drawn from in that sense. And I mean, companies know their companies the best, and so like you're kind of already set up to be the expert in that space, and so it's not as burdensome a lift as trying to, how do I create something that is filling the mold of what I think like the algorithm is looking for, rather than just kind of the opportunity to be authentic, because that's what we keep seeing over and over again, is that the algorithm now is prioritizing authenticity. Like it wants kind of like that, not like kind of that unfiltered a little bit. They want access to as much information as possible. And I mean, the companies that are kind of taking advantage and doing well right now are telling their stories well, telling their stories authentically. And that's where we're seeing like a lot of benefit. So it's just trying to kind of continuing to drive clients and companies to kind of go down that path and embrace it too, because it's a bit of a shift from what it's been before. So it's certainly a really exciting time for kind of like what comes next. And I feel like the fit could be a little bit more natural, like especially as we're kind of like talking to the audience that you serve, like they can be a little bit more of their authentic selves and their natural selves. And that's going to benefit them kind of in the new landscape we're finding ourselves in.
Yeah, it feels like there's always this rush, and coming from the media side too, we certainly feel that way, where it's how much content can we get out as quick as possible to drive eyeballs, and it was all about just gaining those impressions. And be real, they're still impressions are important, but at the same time, it's do I care? I care more about having the authentic story told, the real story, like being true to who you are, whether that's as the brand writing it, the brand you're talking about. And driving the right eyeballs as opposed to just a massive amount of eyeballs. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
I think we're about to see just a big shift in how people search for things. So that they're going to be searching for brands, solutions, products, even B2B, B2C. They're going to be using AI instead of Google to search for stuff. And so we're trying to figure out what's the right way to make sure that you're showing up on AI. And I think exactly what Pete said, like telling your story, helping our clients tell the story, tell interesting stories about their technology, or their products, or or whatever it does. But I think we're seeing more and more. There have been a ton of reports that have come out recently, like even a Gartner report saying that non-paid and earned media, so the stuff that you guys do, the press and traditional public relations, is going to be a primary driver of that. So, so I think it's continuing to do what we do well and what you guys do well.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, we are still important? Like, oh,
I know.
that's
Well,
awesome.
it was like,
Thank you.
When like last year this time, everyone was like, AI is going to take these jobs away, but I think we're finding like this is a real opportunity for us and for you guys and for brands. Yeah,
for sure. Well, this was.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Like to Alex's point about the shift and the change is like in search in particular is it's now conversational. Like people are not necessarily. It was the format and the framing was like through queries before, which is still similar. Like you're still ultimately asking a question, but it's in the way that you're asking your question now, where kind of the way that the language models operate and the AI systems operate, where people are. You're more casually having a conversation of just like, hey, and people are giving probably more information and more context too, of just like, this is what I have, and this is what I'm looking to add, or this is the situation that I'm in, and this is the thing that I'm looking for, where you could not, like, I mean, you guess you could put that into a search bar before, but like it was kind of ignored. And so like the context-rich environment that we're starting to find ourselves in. Yeah. Wait through the answers to try and find the thing that you were looking for, and the sources now.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So on the back end, that's what we're trying to help figure out. What are those queries that people are asking? And how do we, make sure we show up in those? Like we recently did a new business proposal, but it was like we're thinking through like the specifics of, I have a Jeep and I want to put speakers in my Jeep, but how do I make sure that the sound is good because it's open air? Like those are the kinds of things that people are going to be using AI to search for.
Yeah, and it's a crazy space too because of how quickly it's evolving as well, and like just constantly having to keep up with whether it's new tools or just new ways of working with it, the updates that come around to it. Like we talk about the whirlwind of buying a business. The whirlwind of trying to keep up with AI is on another level right now too. And I'm sure to some it's probably the ones that don't want to evolve along with it are probably looking at it like, oh, it's too much, I'll never understand it, and just kind of stay away from it. And those to me are the ones that are probably doing themselves and their businesses a disservice by not at least trying, right?
Let's that same conversation when social media came around.
Yep.
Just like, this new thing, I don't need
We've
social
been here.
media. Yeah, so it's just...
We had to push a lot of clients back in the day, like, you need to be on Twitter.
It's neat that conversation's happening again. I wasn't intending on going down an AI rabbit hole, but here we are. This is a podcast in 2026 with a bunch of PR and comms people. It was going to happen. So,
every conversation ends in this now.
It was going to happen. So I appreciate you guys doing that and kind of pushing us down there. But I do want to give you a chance too to talk about the honoring a legacy too, right? Like you get to, in acquiring this business, we talked about it a little bit at the top, but you get the chance to kind of leave your thumbprint on it, or kind of what you want to see this become. And I think a lot of it, maybe again what we were talking about with the direction of how services or the AI stuff probably plays a big part in that. But Pete, start with you. When you think about the impression you want to leave on. You guys are just a couple weeks into, being owners of this business. But when you think about, 10, 15, 20 years from now, what are your hopes for Caster?
Heavy question. My outside of my the coffee story, really, like my entire professional career has been here at Caster. So, in earnest, I probably haven't fully wrapped my head around the fact that how deeply tied I am to this, but I mean, Alex and I have had a ton of conversations around like kind of our commitment to this and everything. Like I can't really think of a different direction that I would want to be going in. Like having spent I think I always mix up the numbers. I think I'm on year 14. We always leapfrog over this. In terms of the exact number, but I'm pretty sure I'm on year 14 going on 15 or something like that, kind of like here at Caster. And so, I mean, everything that I have learned about this business and how Caster operates and everything that it stands for, I mean, was directly from Kim and from Alex. And so I'm in a really unique position to kind of continue to learn from Alex in this set and take everything that Kim has kind of imparted, because you hit the nail on the head with like, there's a super legacy behind like the Caster name, and kind of like it's well known. It is out there. We were doing some new business bidding, and the note back from like the corporate folks that were kind of taking a look at it was like, oh yeah, we know who Caster is, and so there's a lot there. It's such an interesting moment to be involved in terms of kind of like where we get to leave our thumbprint and kind of continue to shape it. But I think it kind of goes back to, like you said, we're a couple weeks in, so definitely not trying to shake the boat in any major way, but like continuing to just serve the clients that we have, and bring on new clients that we can serve in the same fashion that we have for the 20 plus years that Kim has been doing this, with the same level of performance and the same level of support and the same level of guidance, is really what I'm focused on or like to be focused on for the next 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, we've talked about that there. And so Yeah, it's really it's like it's carrying the torch and having it kind of progress forward in the same in as best of the same fashion as it can. There's going to be some new things that we get to do, just kind of given the nature of how everything's changing and like what the future of comms and PR and even like the businesses within our industry look like. But what's always been really comforting to me about communications and PR in general is like the fundamentals are pretty much the same. Like once you can kind of get back to like telling those authentic stories, it's one of the things that I've loved most about working for an agency, because we always talk about like agency life versus kind of like doing PR directly for a singular client or a singular company. And for me, the fact that like every day is a little bit different and you never exactly know what curveball that you're going to get served up, or kind of like what the new problem of the day is going to be, has been like one of my most favorite and most cherished parts of working for a PR agency. So I'm looking forward to that continuing, because it definitely keeps us fresh. I feel like it keeps you never really know like what email you're going to receive that day. And there's been more than one occasion where I'm like, oh, I can't believe I'm devoting the next like 3-4 hours of my day to researching this. I didn't think that I would be doing that today. So I didn't have that on my bingo card as like something that we've used before. So it's really for me about just having kind of come up all the way through Castor and worked here for as long as I have, just continuing to preserve the reputation and the legacy that we have.
Yeah, and that's awesome.
Yep.
Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. We talked about it a lot, but it's not making changes. It's really trying to protect that brand, protect that culture. Kim has, I mean, I've worked for other agencies and I've worked with a lot of other agencies on projects over the years, and Castor's pretty unique in that we're really high touch. We have seniors. It's a really senior. It's pretty much an entirely senior team at this point, and every client has senior leadership on it. There's so much transparency in what we're doing. Clients sometimes when we're talking to new business or potential clients, they're very worried because they've worked with other agencies that weren't like this, or they have never worked with a PR agency before. Very worried about how are we going to know what you guys are doing. Trust me, like we're very high touch. We're very outcome driven, and that's all all things that Kim have driven into the teams. And I mean, I think it's one of the reasons we have clients that stick around for 13, 14 years. I mean, some of our clients have been here since Pete has been here. And I think that's pretty special. So we want to, our responsibility is to protect that and maintain that, that same level of service and that trust, and also make sure our team feels supported in the same way that they have since, with Kim at the helm.
Yeah.
So, I think that's really important to us. And yeah, things in the industry are like how we deliver PR to manage trends and new things happening. That might shift and change, and we're always trying to keep on top of that. But I think we're not planning to make big changes in how we operate and how we work and how we deliver for our clients.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I think it's a testament to you said, like you guys are saying, right? The foundation is well established. It's more than just a foundation. There's a whole, full-blown house that exists on it as well.
There you go.
Almost quite literally, right?
Yeah. So maybe in a way we did buy a house.
You did. A few houses on it.
Full circle. So you guys really get to come in and maintain it and be those next owners that just continuing the metaphor, that keep it up and make sure it continues to run well. And no, that's awesome. I'm excited to follow it. You guys have always been a really great team to work alongside with in this industry, and I'm excited for you guys for sure, and look forward to continuing to follow the story, follow your clients, and all that good stuff. So I appreciate the deep dive and doing it. And I want to end on a lighter note, a lighter question, and that just being if you have a favorite PR story or pitch or campaign or anything that comes to mind when you think of just kind of your time in the space that you had the most fun with?
So many good ones. I mean, the very first campaign I worked on at Castor was with Kim. This is why I was brought on. We launched Health Spot. It was like a doc in a box. It was going to be inside Walgreens. You would walk in and then you'd go into like a kiosk and have a virtual appointment with a doctor. And there was like a scale on the floor and like a blood pressure cuff and everything in there. We launched that at CES, and it was really fun, like major media, tons of, broadcasts and all of that. So that was a really fun one to work on with her. They were a client for several years until they actually got acquired by a company. But yeah, that was really cool. And one of my other favorites, I mean, a lot of my favorites revolve around CES because we always have really fun things that we launch there. But one of my other favorites was Pete and I worked on one of the first accounts we worked on together was the Kivo Smart Lock. So one of the first smart locks, really. We handled Unikey, which is the technology that made it smart. They were actually a Shark Tank winner, and we did tons of fun reviews with them. I think we got them on the Today Show, and yeah, that was a really fun one. And awesome. I think it was one of the first accounts that we worked on together, and just got to meet a lot of great press through them.
Yeah, Pete, how about for you?
Yeah, I mean, so Alex kind of alluded to it. I mean, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Z-Wave Alliance in particular, because that's been an account that since like day one for me here at Castor that I've been a part of. So it's been really, really, really interesting to watch how the Alliance has evolved in the 14 years or whatever that I've been here, and transcend from the Alliance as it was before and become like a standards development organization. So that is one where the Z-Wave technology just touches so many different parts and pieces that there's always like something new to do on that account, or a new angle to take, or somebody new to talk to. So that's been one that, just because I've gotten to work on it for so long, definitely deserves a shout out. For a while, Castor represented a private island resort down in Belize that I did some work on, and that was just through the power of connections and stories, kind of similar to the coffee shop, kind of just like never. My takeaway for that story always is you never know exactly who you're talking to, and just to kind of like always kind of just put your best foot forward in that sense. And so we got to run some media trips to that. So I did for Castor, get to go down to Belize to network with some media and showcase kind of like what the resort did. I mean, we're known as like a technology PR firm, and there were tech threads that tied back kind of like the work that we did there, because I know it feels like it feels very obscure. I know it feels very outside what we normally do, but like actually that resort did a ton of like eco-friendly, and they had a bunch of tech like on the island itself, because it was like 15 miles or something like that off the coast of Belize, and like in terms of like how they repurposed rainwater and did all of these other aspects and things. And so I tell that story because like, well, it made all my friends jealous too when I was just like, I get to do PR for a private island resort. I tell that story though too because it's like a really great example of like kind of what I feel our superpower is, which is like really getting immersed with clients and really being like not being pigeonholed, really to the fact that like we are able to go after new markets, and we're always able to go after new media and learn new things. It keeps us from being stagnant, and gives us opportunities that kind of continue to translate like over, and you never really know when contacts even from that, because like we made some really excellent media contacts with like folks in like travel and leisure and stuff, that may or may not be a good fit for like future like safety and travel products that will like are kind of on our roadmap. So that's probably one of the most obscure, but it's a really great case study for kind of our ability to glom on to new markets, and it's like just the phrase that we use is kind of like drink from the fire hose. Like when we do kind of have like new business come on, just like learn everything that we can, because like our ultimate goal is to be just like a natural extension of those teams. It's probably one of the best compliments I've ever received.
That's
just
awesome.
to round that out was the we did PR for Nortec Security and Control for a long time. That was another account that was here when I started, and I remember being at a trade show and talking to somebody, and they're like, "So, like, what division do you work for?" And I was like, "Oh, we're with your PR agency." And the person was like, "I swore you guys worked for us." Like, he's just like, "I see you at all the shows and everything. Like, I thought you just worked for our company." I was just like, "Well, in a way we do, but like not in the way that you thought." So
that's incredible. Well, my only follow up to that is, what media was I part of, and why wasn't I invited to Belize? But that's okay. I'm not going to hold that against you. Maybe next time.
Next time.
No, that's incredible.
I mean, what you're doing with Connected Design, it actually could be a good fit.
Hey, we got the hospitality space, the commercial space. Like, let's go. I'm down. No, Alex and Pete, this was a ton of fun. I again really appreciate it. Like I said, looking forward to continuing to follow your story and your client's story, and just all around excited for you guys. Just some really great people that are having some really awesome things happen to you and for you, and for your team and everything else. So, best of luck. I know you don't need it because y'all are incredible at what you do. But thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Like they always, the thing is, PR agencies have the hardest time doing PR for themselves. So thanks for giving us a chance to kind of talk, and we're really excited about what you're doing with Connected Design too. So
thank you.
This is a cool time for all of us.
It means a lot. So
I know you said you were looking forward to this conversation, and I was too. I was just like, yes, it's Friday.
Let's go. Let's have some fun. Yeah. No, it's certainly not the last time either. Anytime you guys want to pop on, just let me know. Maybe the next one we'll do from Belize. How's that sound?
I've really done myself a hole with that.
You did. I'm not going to let it go. No. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much, and we appreciate it.